Thank you for listening. Please like and subscribe. The Brotherhood of the Silent Blade. Chapter 1, The Blade in the Shadows. Rain hammered the walls of Greystone Keep, relentless and cold, as if the heavens sought to drown the fortress in their fury. Inside his damp, stinking cell, Sir Aldric Lorne sat slumped against the wall, his wrists bound in rusted chains. Once a knight hailed as the Sword of the Crown, he was now a shadow of his former self, disgraced, dishonored, and awaiting the executioner's axe at dawn. The air was thick with the smell of mildew and decay, and water dripped steadily from the ceiling, pooling in the cracks of the uneven stone floor. Aldric stared at the tiny patch of sky visible through the barred window high above, watching as lightning illuminated the jagged cliffs beyond. He clenched his fists, the faint memory of steel in his grip almost enough to drive him mad. His mind was a battlefield of regrets and unanswered questions. How had it come to this? Betrayed by the king's advisor, Lord Revanth, who had twisted the court's ear with lies. Condemned for treason he did not commit. Stripped of his title, his honor, his sword. Above all, Aldric hated the helplessness. For weeks, he had sat in the dark, waiting for death. Every moment passed like an eternity, dragging him deeper into despair. He whispered the word that haunted him most. "Justice," he said bitterly, his voice hoarse. "A lie to make fools of us all." The faint echo of footsteps jolted him from his thoughts. He straightened, his back aching as he shifted his weight. A torch flickered beyond the iron bars of his cell, casting uneven shadows on the wall. The footsteps grew louder, closer, and Aldric braced himself. The heavy door creaked open, but it was not a guard who entered. A man stepped into the room, his face obscured by a hood, his soaked cloak dripping onto the floor. He moved with a confidence that sent a spark of tension through Aldric's tired frame. The man crouched, revealing a sharp grin beneath the shadow of his hood. "Well, this is a sorry sight," the stranger said, his voice edged with amusement. "The great Sir Aldric Lorne, rotting in a cage. You look worse than I imagined." Aldric's glare was sharp despite his exhaustion. "Who are you?" "Thane Varrow," the man replied, pulling a set of tools from his belt. "I've heard a lot about you. They say you're the finest knight in the realm." He glanced at Aldric's chains. "Looking at you now, though, seems the stories were exaggerated. Why are you here?" Aldric demanded, ignoring the bait. "To save your life," Thane said simply. "You're welcome." Before Aldric could respond, Thane set to work on the chains. His fingers moved quickly, the tools clicking softly against the rusted locks. Within seconds, the shackles fell away with a dull clatter. Aldric flexed his wrists, the sting of raw skin making him wince. "I didn't ask for rescue," Aldric said, his tone hard. "And I didn't ask for your permission," Thane replied, smirking. "Now, unless you'd rather wait for the axe, get up and follow me." Aldric hesitated, his pride warring with his survival instinct. Finally, he pushed himself to his feet, his legs shaky from weeks of disuse. "Fine. But don't think this makes us allies." Thane chuckled. "Wouldn't dream of it." The corridor outside the cell was dimly lit, the torchlight flickering against the damp walls. Thane led the way, moving with the quiet grace of a predator. Aldric followed, his movements slower, less sure. Every muscle in his body screamed in protest, but he pressed on. "Stop," Thane whispered suddenly, raising a hand. Voices echoed faintly ahead, followed by the clatter of boots on stone. Two guards emerged from the shadows, their armor glinting in the flickering light. "Do we fight?" Aldric asked, his voice low. Thane grinned, pulling a dagger from his belt. "Think you remember how?" "Give me a weapon," Aldric said coldly. Thane handed him a second dagger. It was poorly balanced, far from the longsword Aldric was used to, but it would suffice. Without another word, the two crept forward. The guards didn't see them coming. Thane struck first, his blade flashing in the dim light as he buried it in the throat of one guard. Aldric followed, his movements slower but no less effective. The second guard fell, clutching his side as blood seeped between his fingers. "Not bad," Thane said, wiping his blade on the fallen guard's tunic. "For a man on death row." "Let's move," Aldric said curtly. They pressed on, navigating the twisting corridors of the keep as the sound of alarms rose behind them. Shouts echoed off the stone walls, and the tolling of bells signaled the growing pursuit. By the time they reached the postern gate, Aldric was gasping for breath, his body weak but his determination unshaken. Thane pushed the gate open, revealing the stormy night beyond. Rain lashed their faces as they stepped outside, the cold biting into Aldric's skin. The forest loomed ahead, its dark expanse promising both refuge and danger. Without hesitation, Thane led the way, his movements swift and sure. Aldric followed, every step an effort to keep up. When they finally stopped, deep within the forest, Thane leaned against a tree, grinning despite the rain streaming down his face. He pulled a flask from his belt and offered it to Aldric. "Drink," he said. "You've earned it." Aldric took the flask, the fiery burn of the liquor spreading warmth through his chest. He lowered it, his eyes narrowing as he studied Thane. "Why? Why save me?" Thane's grin widened. "Because the world's not done with you yet, knight. And neither am I." Aldric said nothing, but deep within, something stirred. The chains were gone, but freedom wasn't enough. Not yet. He followed Thane into the darkness, the rain masking their trail. Whatever lay ahead, Aldric knew it would not be easy. But for the first time in weeks, he felt alive.